Most people believe traveling is expensive because that's what they've been conditioned to think. High flight prices, overpriced hotels, and ridiculous rental car fees make it feel like travel is only for people with big budgets. But the reality is very different. The biggest reason most travelers overspend is not because prices are high, but because they book without understanding how the travel industry actually works. Airlines, hotels, and booking platforms all rely on speed, pressure, and lack of knowledge. They expect you to book once, accept the price, and move on. What they don't expect is for you to come back, recheck prices, and use flexibility against them. Once you realize that travel pricing is constantly changing and rarely final, you stop being a passive buyer and start becoming a smart traveler who keeps control. Why flexibility is the most powerful travel skill. The most valuable thing you can have when planning any trip is not a discount code, a flash sale, or some hidden website that promises unrealistic deals. It's flexibility. Flexibility is what gives you real leverage in a travel system that is constantly changing behind the scenes. When you book flights or accommodations that allow free changes or cancellations, you are not hesitating or being indecisive. You are protecting your money and your options. Travel prices are not stable. They rise and fall every single day based on demand, last-minute cancellations, seat availability, hotel occupancy, automated algorithms, and even how close you are to the travel date. The moment a traveler locks themselves into a non-refundable booking, they give up all control. From that point on, no matter how much prices drop, they're stuck watching better deals pass them by. Smart travelers understand this and do the opposite. They intentionally book in a way that keeps doors open, knowing that flexibility allows them to react instead of regret. This mindset is especially important for travelers in the United States and Europe, where airlines and hotels quietly offer flexible booking options that most people either overlook or misunderstand. These options are often buried in small text or presented as an unnecessary add-on, even though they can be one of the most powerful money-saving tools available. Paying a little extra upfront for flexibility is rarely an expense, it's an investment. In many cases, that small upfront cost ends up saving far more money later when prices drop or plans change. Beyond the financial benefit, flexibility also removes a huge amount of stress from travel planning. When you know you can adjust your plans without penalties, you stop feeling rushed, pressured, or anxious about making the perfect decision. Instead, you move calmly, confidently, and strategically, knowing that if something better appears, you're free to take advantage of it. How flight prices really work behind the scenes. Flight prices are not logical, and they're definitely not fair. They're emotional and algorithm-driven. Airlines constantly test how much people are willing to pay for the same seat. That's why two passengers on the same flight can pay completely different prices. One of the most overlooked advantages travelers have is when an airline changes a flight schedule after you've already booked. When that happens, the airline has technically altered the agreement, which often gives you the right to cancel or rebook without fees. Instead of immediately accepting the change, experienced travelers pause and reassess their options. They recheck prices, look at alternative routes, and sometimes cancel entirely to book a cheaper or better flight. Another important strategy is choosing flights with free cancellation whenever possible. This allows you to lock in a route early and then monitor prices over time. If the price drops, you cancel and rebook the exact same flight for less. This approach works extremely well for domestic U.S. flights and many European routes, where competition forces airlines to quietly allow more flexibility than they advertise. Travelers who understand this don't rush when booking flights. They book early, stay patient, and let the system work in their favor instead of against them. Why hotels and rental cars punish impulse booking. Hotels and rental cars operate on a pricing system that rewards patience and punishes impulsive decisions. Yet most travelers never realize this while planning their trips. Many people assume that booking as early as possible automatically guarantees the lowest price. But in reality, early booking usually only guarantees availability, not savings. Behind the scenes, hotel rates and rental car prices are constantly being adjusted based on real-time demand, cancellations, seasonal trends, and occupancy forecasts generated by algorithms. When demand is lower than expected, or when large numbers of travelers cancel their plans, prices often drop, and in some cases, they drop significantly. Travelers who booked flexible reservations are in a position to take advantage of these changes. They can cancel their original booking and rebook the exact same hotel or car at a much lower rate, sometimes saving hundreds of dollars without changing their plans at all. On the other hand, travelers who lock themselves into non-refundable bookings have no choice but to absorb the higher cost, even while watching better prices appear later. This pattern is especially common in major U.S. cities and popular European destinations, where there is a high volume of hotels and rental vehicles competing for bookings. In these markets, supply is strong and demand can shift daily, which creates frequent price fluctuations. Rental cars follow this behavior even more aggressively, particularly around airports where inventory changes rapidly based on flight schedules and travel volume. A rental car that looks overpriced weeks in advance can suddenly become far cheaper just days before pickup as more vehicles are returned, or as companies try to fill unused inventory. Travelers who make it a habit to recheck prices regularly gain a quiet but powerful advantage in this system. Instead of accepting the first price they see, they allow the market to work in their favor. This simple habit often leads to savings that most people never realize are possible, all without sacrificing comfort, convenience, or travel quality. How smart travelers multiply savings without sacrificing comfort. Saving money on travel doesn't mean sacrificing comfort or convenience. It means understanding how small advantages compound over time. Booking consistently through platforms that reward loyalty leads to better pricing, exclusive discounts, and perks that casual users never see. Mobile pricing is another quiet advantage. The same hotel on the same dates can cost less when booked through an app rather than a desktop browser, simply because platforms want to increase mobile usage. These differences may seem small at first, but over multiple trips they add up significantly. Travel credit cards, when used responsibly, further increase these savings by offering points, protections, and credits that reduce out-of-pocket costs. The key difference between travelers who benefit from this system and those who don't is discipline. Smart travelers never spend more than they can pay off and treat credit cards as tools, not shortcuts. When used correctly, these tools quietly return value and make frequent travel far more affordable. Travel smarter, not harder. The biggest myth about travel is that only people with high incomes can afford to do it often. In reality, the people who travel the most are usually the ones who understand the system best. Travel pricing is designed to reward flexibility, patience, and awareness. Once you stop treating prices as final and start treating them as adjustable, everything changes. You gain control over your budget, reduce stress, and open the door to more opportunities to explore without overpaying. These strategies are not shortcuts or loopholes. They're simply ways of booking smarter in a system that most people never question. If this video helped you see travel differently, make sure to like it, share it with someone who loves to travel, and subscribe for more real-world strategies that help you travel better without spending more. Let me know in the comments what kind of travel tips you want to see next, and I'll see you in the next video.